welcome to Hugo Girl, the podcast where we read Hugo Award-winning novels. I'm Lori.
I'm Haley.
Amy. And together we are
talking about Book 2 in the Broken Earth trilogy, The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. The Obelisk Gate won the Hugo for Best Novel in 2017, and it was also a finalist in 2016 for the Nebula Award for Best Novel. So we talked last time about the sad puppies, and I don't want to give them any more of our recording time. But I will say that, like Amy mentioned previously, that despite their worst efforts, the Hugo Awards definitely began to diversify. And in 2017, women won 8 of the 10 categories for the Hugo Awards. And that year, in 2017, the Hugos also themselves won a Guinness record for being the longest-running science fiction award. And N.K. Jemisin was the first author to win back-to-back Best Novel Hugo Awards in 25 years, and that was after Lois McMaster Bujold. Is that how you say that? Does anybody know?
Bujold or Buhold?
Right.
Bujold or Buhold. It won back-to-back Hugos for Best Novel in 1991 and 1992. So that's fun.
Did y'all on the inner cover? I was actually reading a real book this time, made of paper and pages, and the little bio for N.K. Jemisin. I just love this woman. It talks about her awards and what she's done, but the last sentence is really cute. It says, in her spare time, she is a gamer and gardener, and she is also single-handedly responsible for saving the world from King Ozymandias, her dangerously intelligent ginger cat, and his phenomenally destructive sidekick Magpie. Aww.
That's cute. Mine doesn't say that.
Yeah, this is
God.
mine's like a pink paperback.
Yeah,
So.
that's what I've got too.
I thought it was really cute.
She's got a ginger cat. She's automatically a favorite, Haley.
That's right.
It's like you're related. I wanted to mention that we got an email from another podcast chart aggregator thing, and it said that we are unsolicited, by the way. They just find us because we're a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, how big of a deal are we, Lori? Well, I'll tell you. We were, at the time I received this email, number 63 in the book category of Norway.
Okay.
Number 238 in the arts category in Norway. And number 125 in the books category of New Zealand.
Thanks, guys.
We're on tour.
Keeping up. We're
interesting.
taking over the Commonwealth.
So I thought it would be fun to greet our Norwegian friends in their own language. So I looked up how to say hello in Norwegian, and it is hello. So hello and welcome.
Very common. I don't know how to say welcome.
That's when we get to our German friends later. And then
Germany, I'm sure Germany is right behind. We're going to be like number 432 in Germany before we know it.
Oh my God, guys! When we get to France, Hugo Fia.
Oh,
Hugo, madame.
Oh, and can I spell it like EAUX, or is that only Louisiana French?
Oh, no, that's regular French too.
Well, but the plural of girl, Fia, is just Fia.
Oh, no, I mean like
Hugo, the
Hugo.
Hugo.
Oh, yeah, why not?
Like the
Well,
whole
Haley,
Go
it could
Tigers thing that they do.
Yeah.
It could
What's up?
be Allons-y via.
Allons-y, madame.
I like that. That could be our side project. Allons-y, madame.
Oh, oui, the podcast is science fiction. I finally put that French degree to good use. We are recording this on the first day of 2021.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year, guys. I'm tired.
Me
Y'all
too.
stayed up too late.
I know.
I did. I was very ambitious, and then I woke up today and I was like, I'm too old to be that ambitious.
I started dry January 2 days early, so I'm feeling great. I'm sleeping good.
I've told Haley I'm going to do that with her. We'll see how long I last.
I've never done it, so.
I live mostly dry, and then I had 2.5 drinks last night, and 0.5 is because Kevin makes me half-size Manhattans sometimes. So I had 2.5 drinks last night, and I feel like garbage today. It also may have something to do with I sliced myself a giant piece of Yule log cake for breakfast. So
Yeah,
I made some cinnamon rolls to try and get me through my hangover this morning.
yeah, I've not set myself up for success with a breakfast of mostly butter. That cake is really good though.
Are y'all making black eyed peas today?
Yep,
Yes,
mine are
ma'am. They're in
soaking
the
right
crock pot.
now.
I wonder if our Norwegian and Kiwi friends know about Hoppin' John. Probably not.
I don't know.
Well,
It's good luck.
I guess is it like November? Is it November? Is it January 2nd in New Zealand?
Oh, yeah. Probably.
Yeah,
Then it's too late.
it's too late.
But
Bad luck.
next year you need to eat black eyed peas on New Year's Day.
Although New Zealand did not eat any black eyed peas last year, and they handled Corona very well. So
Oh God, maybe it's the black eyed peas that are doing all this.
I didn't
The
eat
band,
black-eyed
yes.
peas last year, and so I think the pandemic is my fault.
Oh, Amy.
So I got to eat.
Oh, the
black-eyed
pandemic is
peas.
my fault because I wasn't worried about it.
So this is all our fault, and we need to do better.
That's okay. I guess we got to start talking about this book now.
Oh yeah, okay. All right.
It's so confusing. I like it. I like it a lot. But
I know. Okay. Plot summary.
good luck. Godspeed. I'll see you in 20 minutes.
It's long, but it's not like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, this book is the second book in N.K. Jemison's Broken Earth trilogy. It's narrated by the Stone Eater Hoa, and we primarily focus on two characters, Essen and her daughter Nassin. Essen is ostensibly searching for her daughter, who was kidnapped by her husband Jija after he murdered their young son Yuche in the first book. However, Essen spends the entirety of the novel living semi-involuntarily in a literal underground community called Castrima, where we see her learn to integrate into a society where she can be out as an origin. Her friend Alabaster happens to be there. He's dying in the infirmary of Castrima, and he tasks Essen with completing his work of destroying the world. Meanwhile, Nassin is on the run with her father Jija, who it turns out is trying to get to a community that he heard can cure origins. Things are shaky between them, and Nassin shaky. I didn't even realize that was a joke. Shaky between them, and Nassin lives in constant fear that he will kill her, so this is not really a good time for jokes. Although he's very willing to accept her protection when they're attacked on the road. They eventually run into none other than Shafa, Essen's terrifying guardian who underwent some kind of psychic transformation following his near death in the aftermath of everything that happened at Miov when Essen pretty much just sank everything. He's now able to counteract some of his guardian programming, but it comes at a great cost to himself, and he is constantly suffering. He becomes a sort of father figure to Nassin and guides her along her journey as an origin. We also learn that in addition to controlling energy, origins can also access and control magic. It's a little confusing, but magic seems to be a different power source that Essen learns to identify and control in Castrima, while Nassin finds it naturally. I think that the end of the book, this is my prediction, is teeing up some kind of showdown between Essen and Nassin in the third book, as we learn that they can both command the obelisks, they can both control magic, and a stone eater called Steel has gotten Nassin to agree to open the obelisk gate and serve his purposes, which are at odds with the task that Essen has received from Alabaster. The end.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, y'all correct me if this is wrong. I just want to know if y'all agree or not. So, Hoa wants Essen to, and Alabaster wants Essen to put the moon back on track. And Steel wants Nassin to make the moon go away forever?
I think we don't 100% know, but I think that endgame is that Hoa and Alabaster want to end seasons and sort of remake society, and everybody can live there and be okay. And Steel wants only Stone Eaters to survive. And for me, it's not immediately clear what the moon's role is.
Well, it seems like if the moon, seems like the season started because the moon was pushed out of its normal orbit.
Yes.
And then putting it back in its normal orbit would stop the seasons. It seems that's what I took away. I don't know.
Yeah. I would agree with that understanding. I'm just not exactly sure what Steel, like they both want somebody to open the obelisk gate and do their bidding.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure what Steel would do with the moon. Like, does the moon just, we're just going to shoot the moon away forever?
Yeah, I'm not clear on that either.
I found myself Googling what's up with with Stone Eaters because I don't understand any of their motivations.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're alive creatures that are from the stillness, but I don't understand them at all. I think they're cool, but
They get explained in the third book.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of Stone Eater in the third book and the history of
oh,
the
good.
Stone Eaters. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like an Empire Strikes Back. You meet the Emperor, but you don't really know what he's about. And then
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, you got so much Emperor. So
Yeah, I think it's a similar path, narrative arc. I think.
Well, and I think for the purposes of this book, they're people, and some of them want everyone to be able to coexist peacefully, and some of them don't, which is just like people.
do you know why I am so obsessed? Well, not so obsessed. Why I love Stone Eaters? Because I've been thinking about this for years. So we are carbon-based life forms, and we put food in our body, grapes, tacos, whatever, Cheetos, and we get energy from it. And it's like at the end of the day, though, it's a chemical process that transfers some chemicals to our body from an external source. And so the idea that there could exist a creature that consumes rocks and gets energy that way, I think is fascinating. So I'm glad that it's in this book. That may only make sense in my head, but I was just trying to think of other examples of carbon-based life forms. Like, what if there was a silicon-based life form that ate rocks? And here we go. So,
Anybody got any goodies from Goodreads?
Kinda.
I took a look, and they're generally good. There's one person that didn't like it, but I thought it was more just like a preference thing.
I think people were much more thoughtful about their not everybody, but for the most part, it seems like people were more thoughtful about their low star reviews for this book for some reason.
Yeah.
So there's no like just gems that like jumped out at me, but I did like Walnut Creek Kid, who on Amazon said, "What happened to real authors?"
What a turd.
There was another one by AJ who's talking about the first book when he said the other had some great ideas that I really liked. However, the author seems to have some biases towards men. All the men are usually cruel idiots, and or any man of importance is gay.
Did we read the same book?
Wow.
Like I don't know where that came from for this book.
Yeah.
I think the most common criticism that I've read is that it suffers from second book syndrome, which is kind of like it's the second album syndrome from a band that has a first great album, and I think and especially in a trilogy, it's got to be a bridge. I mean, it's hard to have 3 killer ones in a row without any low points. So
I mean, there's a lot of narrative pushing in this book that like doesn't really involve much character development, so it's a little hard. I found it a little bit of a slog at times, I think, because of that. But
yeah, there's definitely I feel like she goes into very intense detail on some things that have no bearing on the plot that aren't that interesting. But
I also had an issue with the fact that Nassan and Essen both seem to just commit mass murder without thinking much about it.
Can I read my goodies from Goodreads before we start talking about murder?
Oh, sorry, yes.
So, yeah, I agree with you both about the second book thing, that there were a lot of reviews about that, which I think are like perfectly valid, fine things to say. Although I didn't know about the second book phenomenon, but a lot of people talked about it, or a lot of people really didn't like that Essen was in Castrima the whole time and not traveling, which I thought was surprising because so many books I feel like we're just walking, we're checking our bread. And so I liked that she was settled in a place. So I had a couple of gems. So the first one is from Will Ross. And to give you a preview of this review, his profile picture is a MAGA hat.
Oh, good. This is going to be good.
And here's the entirety of the review. You're a black lesbian woman. We get it already.
I didn't know she was gay. That's great.
I know. Who's he talking about?
Is he talking about Ika?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I don't think there's much we need to say about that. So I can move on now to Trevor. And Trevor is probably my favorite review. I gave this book 1 star, not because of the writing or the creativity, but sole as a subjective rating for how much I enjoyed it. because I got this book from the library. There was a sticker over the part that indicated it was book 2 of a trilogy.
Oh no, Trevor.
I realized after I started that I missed a fair bit of the background, but figured I could just read on and get the gist of what was going on.
Oh no.
That never really happened.
So he gave it 1 star because he didn't read the first book?
Yep. Yep.
Bless his heart. I could barely understand it, and I read the first book. How did he slog through? Woo.
Oh, poor Trevor. It must be hard getting through the day like that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
All right. So, shall we move on to mass murder?
Please, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much of
There's
it.
a lot of it.
Yeah.
I mean, people are being turned to stone. People are, people getting killed by boil bugs. People getting killed by, like, it just seems to never end. And nobody I guess people have a flimsy connection to people's, like, it doesn't seem like, I don't know. I guess they don't think life's all that precious because it ends so quickly in a season anyway. So maybe that has something to do with it. But man, they don't seem to give a crap about killing off whole cities worth of people.
Well, and also I think this book is a kind of a good example of why people don't like Origins.
Yeah, I mean, if they can do this and like just at whim, I'd be terrified of them too.
Yeah.
I would be being very, very polite.
All the time. I'm telling you, it's like that episode of that show I mentioned last time. Like, you've got to be nice to your Origins.
Or, either you're polite to them all the time, or you develop a system in which they are held in check by things like guardians.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
She tries so hard to get us to sympathize with them, because, like, they're abused and they're brainwashed and they do live, like, a really terrible existence in a lot of ways. But, man alive, they are... An angry Origin is something.
Well, and it seems like they can kill people multiple ways. There's freezing, and then there's turning them to stone, or maybe that's the magic. I'm not sure, but yeah, there's a lot of ways.
Yeah, the turning people to stone thing seems to only be a thing if you can connect to the obelisks.
Let's talk about obelisks, because I'm still not sure what the obelisk gate is. So, okay.
I can help.
Okay, so obelisks, in my mind, are these things floating in the sky, like big earrings, right?
Correct.
They're different colors.
Yep.
And they hang out. Do they move?
Yeah, they float around.
Mhm.
They float around. So I think that's a really cool visual. And
Yes, I love it.
And you can connect to them through the Force. That's
Yes.
cool. And they serve as like amplifiers. I dig that. But what is this gate we're talking about?
So the gate is if a very powerful Origin can sort of harness all of them at the same time.
Ooh.
And gate's sort of like a cute name for it. I think in the 3rd book, one of the Stone Eaters is like, "Oh, that's cute that you call it that." So it's really more of a name than an actual.
Oh, okay. So it's like
door.
crossing the streams in Ghostbusters.
Yeah. And the thing that makes that confusing to me was the art on my book cover looks like a physical stone hatch that you might be able to open.
Same.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. Okay.
So that's what I kept like reaching for in my mind, but it's actually like networking all of the earrings in the sky.
Okay, so here's how I pictured the earrings in the sky. The obelisk gate would be a big one, and there's an actual door on it.
Oh no.
Well, but the onyx kind of is like the big one. So I think it does have like a boss earring. I think the onyx is sort of like the control earring.
Yeah,
And then if you network all of them, then you would have enough power to ostensibly catch or fling away the moon. Or do other things like freeze whole cities, etc., etc.
Do y'all think that the people that are really into crystals like this book?
I am like lightly into crystals only in terms that I think they're pretty, and it is like something I love about this book. Because I'm not very good at like some of the physical descriptions are lost on me. And I'm just not super good at like picturing buildings and landscapes and stuff. But like the big floating earrings in the sky or like living inside a giant geode, I think about that all day.
Yeah.
Which is why I quibble with the people who were upset that Essen stayed in Castrima the whole time. Because I was like, what? You just get to imagine living inside one of those giant purple rocks that they have in like the gift shop in Dahlonega.
Yeah, I really liked imagining Castrima. I thought it was a really cool idea.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah. So I tried, and I can kind of get it sometimes, like a big geode place. But in my head, And when I read, I don't really see fine details. I see it like a Monet painting, I think, and people don't have
Yeah.
faces. I just think of the idea of the person.
Same kind
Same.
of, yeah.
But Castrema Under to me was like Legoland. I guess because there's lots of yellow. I don't know, and like it's kind of
yeah.
rocky and craggy. So that's how I
I
thought.
can see that. I think that's a good analogy.
So okay, so then once they get a hold of all these obelisks and they can make gates and things, doorways in the sky. Oh, that reminds me of when people would see Mary and Conyers. Is it Conyers where people would see
Yes,
Mary?
it's Conyers, my hometown.
Yes, and like people would see a doorway in the sky sometimes. I bet it's like
Hmm.
that. Anyway,
I remember, oh my God, can I tell you? I remember being in 5th grade and maybe it wasn't 5th grade. My friend Kelly, I was like 10 or younger. And my friend Kelly went to see, her name is Nancy Fowler, the woman who saw Mary every month. The Virgin Mary came and spoke to her. And for people who don't know, Google Nancy Fowler. It's very weird. And she was like, "Oh, we went." And then she told us all to look up at the sky. And then when we looked down, everything was gold. Everybody was gold. Everything was just covered in a layer of gold. And I was like, "You looked at the sun." I remember being like 9 or 10. And I was like, "You stared into the sun. Of course, everything looked strange when you looked away with your first degree burnt retinas." Oh, sorry. So it reminded you of Nancy Fowler.
Yeah, I just the reason it reminded me of that is because one of the kids in my middle school class went to Conyers to try and see Mary, and he came back with Polaroids of a door in the sky. And I still to this day do not know where or how he got those Polaroids of a door in the sky, but Haley's description of the obelisk gate reminded me of the
Door in the sky. Now that is new to me.
Yeah, I don't think it. I think there might have been some fibbing going on with
Well,
those.
also though, do you think that they sell Polaroids in the gift shop that have
Well,
a door in the sky?
Absolutely.
Or somebody there was selling them,
Yeah.
like, yeah. Or who knows? Who knows?
My mom had a T-shirt that said "Eat, drink, and see Mary, Conyers, Georgia."
Oh man, that I wish you still had that shirt.
She probably does have it. There was always so much traffic too. I think it was the 13th of every month that the Virgin Mary appeared to her the night before, and then people would flock to Conyers, and she would talk to them on her compound and tell them what the Virgin Mary had told her.
Oh, bless.
I have a question. Is she still the Virgin Mary?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
who knows
but
what
why
they
would
did after
she-
they were married? I mean,
Yeah, right. So she's like, she used to be the Virgin Mary. Now she's just Mary.
I
Maybe
guess,
maybe she never had sex with Joseph. No.
Well, Jesus had brothers and sisters, didn't he?
I think that's what it says in the Bible. Otherwise, how do you get Merovingians?
Wait, hold on. I thought the miracle birth was about somebody else, not Mary, wasn't it?
Oh,
The
the
Immaculate
Immaculate-
Conception
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Mary's conception.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But the virgin birth is Jesus.
But I just wonder why they keep calling her the Virgin Mary. She's not anymore.
I don't know.
She's just a regular lady like the rest of us.
A fallen
What if
woman.
God was one.
With a to use one of my favorite products from snake oil, with a very interesting belly story.
Oh, I have a connection to snake oil in this book, and I'm
I was
hoping
gonna say,
that
this
snake.
could be about the book. We have not talked about the book in a while.
Well, no, but we will. But my dream is that the Snake Oil Corporation will want to sponsor us, and they'll give us $10 a month, which would be plenty for me. And then, well, that'll be our ad. Nope.
Wait,
Call
how
us
is that
snake oil?
confused with the book?
It's. Do you want to know? Okay. So for people that don't know what snake oil is, it's my favorite game of all time. I like to play it on major holidays and birthdays, and it's kind of like Cards Against Humanity. Everybody gets 7 cards that have nouns on them, and then one person is the buyer, and they are assigned a profession: witch, cheerleader, pregnant lady, and the team goes around and then has to create the best product for that person. On page 285, Hoa is talking about, okay, so Hoa's the I keep wanting to call him Rock Cutter, but that's from Neverending Story, right?
Rock eaters or from
Rock Eater, yeah. He's a stone eater. So Hoa's talking, the echoing voice grows sharp suddenly. You remember him crouching, baring his teeth like some feral beast. It occurs to you with the suddenness of an epiphany that you haven't seen as many stone eaters around lately. And then, buckle up, people. These are the names of some of the stone eaters he's killed. Are you ready?
Yes.
They could all be snake oil products. We have ruby hair, butter marble, ugly dress, tooth shine, all the regulars. Not a glimpse in months.
Butter marble.
Butter marble.
Tooth shine. Ruby hair.
When
Oh my God.
toothpaste just won't cut it, there's tooth shine for stone eaters. All right, so about the mass murder. I think that, of course, the overarching theme of this book and probably every good book is that hurt people hurt people.
Sure.
And it made me really angry when I found out that Essen broke Nassen's hand when she was training her. I got so upset. I put the book down and I was like, I don't want to read this anymore. I hate her. I
Like,
don't
she
want to
can't
hang out
think-
with her in the big geode. Go away.
She can't think of any other way to get Nassen to understand that she needs to control her origin.
But then later, it becomes clear that she consciously thought I would rather be hated by my child and know that she's going to be safe. So you see why she does it. And I just got very worked up about how nobody in this book is a good guy or a bad guy. And that means it's a good book, but I hate it.
Well, but that's the whole. Yeah, I mean, she does.
I don't hate the book. I hate not knowing what to do with people.
She doesn't know. I mean, Essen doesn't know any other way, right? Because she's so born and bred fulcrum.
Yeah.
And so, like, her only, like, I guess,
tools. Her only tools.
Her only tools. Yeah, that's the way she was taught. So that's the only way she knows how to teach. So you get it, but like, she also has enough remove from the fulcrum and enough like skepticism of the fulcrum at this point. It seems like that she wouldn't do something like that, but then she does it, and it's like, But then she meets Ika, and Ika's like, no, there's these other ways, and then okay, so maybe she will be better later. But then she already hurt Nassen, and now Nassen's a psychopathic mass murderer. Also, this was a really
Nassen's got like some strong Arya vibes.
There's a really good. I felt like this was a really good villain origin story for Nassen. Really, like that was the best part about this book to me, was like seeing how Nassen grows into this like very cold, manipulative person who desires love and acceptance above all, but also is very wounded by how her family treated her and etc. And the death
in her short 10-year life, she's ready
Yeah.
to unmake the world because she's that exhausted.
So I think that was the most successful part of this book to me, was taking us along on the ride as Nassen becomes who Nassen's going to be, and she's not very likable.
Huh? I
But-
didn't get that at all.
Oh, interesting.
No, I just thought she was a kid figuring out their stuff.
Oh man, she's like, to me, she seems like, because I think eventually she's going to be the villain, right? It's all being set up for an Essen versus Nassen showdown to me.
But I don't know who the villain is there, though. I do think it's being set up for a showdown, but
I guess I just figure that we're supposed to sympathize with Essen. And it's not that we don't sympathize with Nassen, which is why I think it's a good story. It's like we don't think that she doesn't have any reasons for doing what she's doing, but I don't think we're supposed to want her to succeed in ruining the world or casting the moon off forever or whatever it is she's supposed to be doing. Like, I don't think we're supposed to be rooting for that. So I guess she's the villain in that sense. And she's being led by the Gray Mans, who we don't like because he tried to kill Hoa. So that, I guess, to me, she's being set up as the villain.
It's hard
those
not knowing a lot of these people's motivations, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we get some of the motivations. I mean, Gray Man, who Nassen is calling Steel, like we said before, he's one of the Stone Eaters that wants it to just be Stone Eaters. So he's trying to get, and he can't do anything with the obelisk, so he's trying to get Nassen to do it for him, right? So she's being manipulated by him to do something that we're not supposed to want to happen, I think. And then Hoa is trying to get Essen to control the obelisk to make the season stop so everybody can live in peace and harmony.
Yeah, I guess I just don't know why the Stone Eaters hate humans.
Oh, that's on my list of things. Oh, I created a new temporary segment, list of things I don't quite understand. And that's on the list.
Yeah, because it seems like they have nothing to compete for in terms of resources or lifestyles.
Yeah, again,
That's true.
I started. Oh, that's true. That's a good
They're
point. I
definitely not
started-
eating each other's food.
Yeah, exactly. And like they can go anywhere instantly. Like if they didn't want to be somewhere, they could leave. I don't know.
True.
It's just what is a stone cutter? I don't know. No,
Eater.
stone. God damn it. Yeah, Stone Eater is from The Simpsons. I'm not gonna get it.
Well, it's funny. Essen Essen really hates Stone Eaters, and I can't figure out why. Like, she's so unsettled by them, and she blames Antimony for whatever's happening to Alabaster all through the book, even though we don't really have any evidence to support that Antimony has done anything to him. And I get why she hates Antimony, because Antimony pulled Alabaster away from Meov, and Alabaster maybe could have saved everyone. So I know why she hates her, but she's like, "Oh, what has she done to him?" And it's like, "Well, why? How did you get there?" And
Well, she's
then,
eating him.
well, yeah, but you don't know why. I mean, and she doesn't ask. You
No.
know? And like
Essen doesn't
Alabaster,
ask.
here's the thing, like Alabaster is not one to be like, "Yes, do a thing I don't want to me," you know? So
Right.
I would have asked. It probably have been like my second question. And then there's another part where and I don't know how to unpack this, but there's another part where she hears somebody screaming in Castrima Under, and she sort of ignores it, and then she sees maybe it's Hoa's face and decides to go see what's going on and see if she can help. And the narrator says, "The pity of a disguised Stone Eater has galvanized you in the way the screams of a human could not. Such a monster you are." So she just has such contempt for them, and I'm not sure why, especially Hoa, because he's been her traveling companion and kind of her family for so long at this point. And then, but the other thing that I wanted to sort of unpack or see if you guys had thoughts on is Hoa's the one narrating. And I know Hoa always narrates through the lens of the character he's telling us about, primarily her. But why does he say such a monster you are to her, I wonder? Is he just echoing what she feels about herself, or is that him saying that to her?
Yeah, I thought that was sarcasm or
Yeah,
something.
I don't know.
Like not sarcasm, but something sarcasm adjacent.
I think there's something very human on the opposite side of hating a stone eater, because I bet they're creepy as hell.
Like there's an uncanny valley thing there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like,
Yeah.
they're you can't relate to them as like a living thing, and they've got weird eyes and they can disappear into the ground, which was something that we learned in this book that I thought was really creepy. So I think it makes more sense for humans to hate them, because humans are we can be a very hateful people because things aren't similar or recognizable, but I don't get why they hate us.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about how Essen has been so marginalized, and something that we do as people is we always want to look down on someone or something or other somebody, so that we can always feel like there's somebody who's worse off
Yeah.
or less good than we are. And I wonder if that's sort of what she's doing, because as marginalized as she has been, you would want to think that she would be like, "I don't know, they're just people. They're a little weird, but it's fine." But she's got some deep issues and biases against them.
I got the impression in the first book that there was a lot of like sort of lore around the Stone Eaters.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm wondering. Probably, it's sort of ingrained in them from a young age to distrust or dislike, or, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, I would imagine it's sort of a combination of what you were just saying, Lori. That it's nice to have somebody worse than you, and then combined with that, just sort of from a young age, they're taught these stories about Stone Eaters that they're bad. And so she doesn't trust what Antimony's doing, even though she has no real evidence that what Antimony's doing is against Alabaster's wishes or what have you. But I mean, she did see Antimony sort of take Alabaster, and when he was being sucked down into the earth by her, he didn't seem particularly happy about it. So I don't think that it's from nowhere that she's suspicious of what Antimony's doing to Alabaster. But she definitely doesn't exactly try and suss it out either.
Well, with Alabaster especially, I was never quite sure what was happening to him, but there's a lot of body horror that I was like picking up. So
yeah, it seems like he's going through this thing wherever he uses magic, he gets turned into stone, right? Which I can't remember where the phrase was used, but it's concentrated magic, basically stone. And so like he's slowly being turned into stone. Alabaster's eating him, and she has her reasons for doing that. And at the end of the book, we find out that, spoiler, I guess, that Alabaster has been turned into a Stone Eater. And so she's basically storing him so that later, when he's all done being human, he can be a Stone Eater.
man, can't wait for book 3.
Speaking of the body horror, there's, at the end, Essen's hand is turned into stone at the end of this book.
Yeah.
Mhm.
so this isn't really a spoiler because we already know that she's got a stone limb. In the second book, she talks about how heavy it is.
Oh,
And Lerna's like, yeah, this is injuring you. Your tissue can't bear the weight of it. And I didn't think about that. So kind of thinking about Alabaster in those terms of his body parts were turning to solid stone, but they were still attached to like soft tissue and bones and stuff. Oh, it just sounds like a horror.
No
But I
wonder
imagine
Antimony
her-
has to prop him up.
Yeah, I imagine her living like Jaime Lannister with her heavy gold hand, just like
Well, so I guess in a way, when Antimony eats those stone parts, she's giving him some degree of relief because then his tissues are not having to support that weight.
Yeah.
Ew,
See,
it's so
guys, if you
gross.
just talk about things,
Communication, people.
yeah, ask
Communication.
questions respectfully and listen to the answers, and then work through your biases.
Yeah, there's a whole lot about Essen that I do not like. And
Eat
her-
his stone parts.
Go ahead, have a bite. It'll help.
Gross. I just do the stonecutters reproduce? Do they have
Yes.
bodily functions? I just want to read. All I wanted was a Wikipedia page for history of stonecutter or stone eaters. Ugh. Yeah, that's all I want.
I'm sorry.
Maybe
Make
she'll
one.
give us like an appendix or something, or like a short story on the.
Yeah,
Well, maybe it'll all wrap up in book 3. I'm about halfway through book 3, and there's a lot about the origin of them, but nothing
good.
on poop. Nothing on
Stone
Stone Eater pooping.
Oh, I imagine it's like sand.
I mean, well, where do you think gravel comes from, though? That
Mhm.
seems obvious, I guess,
True.
now that I think about it.
Well, Haley, you're not going to find anything about stone eaters because here in the glossary itself, it says that stone eaters are a rarely seen sentient humanoid species whose flesh, hair, etc. resembles stone, and little is known about them.
Wait, so are they not stone?
They're humanoid who resemble stone.
But they eat stone. I'm so
I know.
confused.
I don't understand the difference.
Well, I wonder if they are stone or if they just resemble it.
I mean, we could all just have been thinking they were the weeping angels this entire time, and we could be totally wrong.
That's how I pictured them.
I mean, yeah, they're
I
stone.
like that we don't really see them move. They're just sort of constantly voguing.
Yeah.
Every time you look at them, they've struck a new pose.
That's awesome.
And like then you end up holding that pose for a while, so I guess you better make it a good one.
Yeah.
I'd be a sassy stone eater. And I was thinking I'd like to be amethyst or rose quartz or both because they're the prettiest rocks.
Opal
Yeah,
would
those are
be
good ones.
kind of lovely. Kind of
Oh,
angelic.
and I would strike a pose like our logo.
Ooh, you know what I would want to be? I would want to be Labradorite. I really like Labradorite.
Oh, it is so pretty.
It's so pretty.
I remember that from back when I was a jewelry lady. I liked labradorite a lot.
I like jade. I'll be jade.
Jade is really pretty. Oh, I have a prediction for the end of all of this. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I think that when all of this is over, Essen has turned into a stone eater and Hoa is narrating because he's telling her the story of her life as a human origin.
That's smart.
Lori. That's a good one. Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
like it. I like it. I like it.
Y'all know that I have never guessed the ending of anything I've ever read or watched or listened to ever. So I'm just
You're
along
like,
for the ride.
I think at the end there's computers that will control everything, and
I have no idea how this could end.
no, I think that's right on because she kind of telegraphed it a little bit with Alabaster turning into a stone eater,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't seem to know who she was, so I think that's a good call. I think that's a real good call. Like
They remind me a little of Time Lords because Hoa like has like the broad strokes of his very long life, but it's sort of like well, not like Time Lords, like in Doctor Who when the woman who plays Arya becomes
oh
a
yeah,
Time Lord, but she can't. What is her name?
me. I think she just starts going by me.
Yeah, because she
Yeah.
can't remember her life because her human mind can't hold the lifespan of a Time Lord.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I kind of wonder if that's what goes on with Stone Eaters because they just have lived for so long that they've sort of got broad strokes of who they are and what's happened, but not all the details.
Yeah. I mean, I've already forgotten a lot from my childhood, and that was only 30 years ago.
Oh, I
so.
can't remember. Somebody asked me today if I remember drinking something with her at a New Year's during college, and I was like, I don't remember any of college or law school. So like happened to a different person. But I was gonna say that I want to revisit this when we do the next one, because I've been reading the third book, and that's an interesting observation for what happens so far in the third book that I've gone through.
That's smart. I mean, that's really the only good way to justify using the second person for so long as a narrative tool.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think we talked about it last time that I read that blog post that Jemison wrote about the second person and how she thought it was like the exact right level of intimacy between the narrator and the reader.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't say anything about it, but that would be a pretty major spoiler to drop in a blog post after the first book, I guess. So
yeah,
I guess she probably wouldn't be like, guess what's going to happen in another 5,000 pages.
True.
I have a note about Tonki. She supports my theory that I have in real life that humans are aliens.
Do tell me. I love this theory.
Well, she has this rant at one point in the book about how species change during a season, right? Like the Curcusa is like a nice vegetarian dog pet, except during a season, then it gets a taste for meat. And that's because it's going to need to. It's going to not be picky and need to eat whatever it can eat. And all these other animals have these innate and almost immediate adaptations that take place once the season begins. But then Tonki says, people are the worst of the lot because we have to use our hands to make coats instead of just growing fur. And she goes on for a few sentences about how we have the intelligence to make the things that we need to adapt, but we don't just adapt. And my thought there is further that we don't belong on that planet.
That's true. We're not from here.
I don't think we are. I'm sitting in a mountain of pillows, electronically recording my voice. I don't belong here.
We were seated by the Ursula K. Le Guin's people.
Well, and like if you think about, and I think the strongest evidence for this theory is that human children are so worthless for so long, and they even mention that in the book. Like they're justifying, these unplanned pregnancies, and they're like, these kids will bring nothing of value for at least 10 years, at least. So.
Yeah, maybe there's some planet where as soon as human babies are born, they're able to get to work. They stand up, start walking, start hunting, going to work.
I watched the giraffe give birth the other day on YouTube, and it could walk in minutes. Minutes.
Yeah,
it
we
takes
don't make
children a year to learn how to walk.
It doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other babies that require that. Like, like marsupials have babies that can't do crap for a while.
Well, it's combined with our long lifespan, the fact that our bipedal posture means that our heads get really big, and then, a woman can't give birth to a fully formed human because it would never come out of her. It wouldn't fit.
Right.
So it's all kinds of things. It's so weird.
I think the male should give birth to the head, and the female should give birth to the rest, and then they should be put together. That way, men
We
would
just
have
assemble it.
Yeah, like men would have consequences for sex that way, and then we could come out fully ready to take on life. And I think that's the next step of evolution.
You sound like King Solomon. I don't know.
No, because she's talking about putting the baby together, not splitting.
No, you get put together when you come out. Like,
well, I know, but I figured he would like both of these theories. So yeah.
On the box, it would say this product requires assembly.
You're right.
Well, and it would come with a little Allen wrench, like at IKEA.
Yeah, you come out in IKEA flat packs, and they put you together.
But if one parent dies while pregnant, then you just have a head. That's weird.
Well, them's the breaks. One
yes,
person
that is weird.
The other person. You gotta look out for the other guy.
Or you just have the bottom part. I don't know. You can put a.
You gotta have both. Mask. You gotta have both.
Okay. Anybody want to talk about Shafa and how scary he is?
He
seems to get better though. I was scared at first. Then I was like, oh, he's just fine.
I know, this is like my overarching complaint about this book, and also why this book is good, is because the characters are so complex that I don't know what to do with them. Because at the beginning of the book, I was like, oh no, Shafa, oh no. And then at the end of the book, I was like, well, he's really trying.
And he was also traumatized as a child. He got this iron shunt put into him as a child.
Oh, traumatized.
He's a hurt person too.
I know. Everyone in this book is so hurt, and they've also done so much hurt. But then you look at Shafa juxtaposed against Essen. Essen's a hurt person who then goes on to wipe out entire cities. Shafa is a very hurt person who's hurt a lot of people and then like living with the weight of that and trying to do better.
True.
Who's the better of the two? I don't know. My gut says don't vote for Shafa, but I'm like looking at Shafa today and Essen today, and I'm like, although Shafa did just kill all those people at the snow fulcrum.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like all bets are off during a season. I don't know. It's a Thomas Hobbes would love this book. Like the world is harsh, nasty, and brutish.
It's very dog eat dog, Kirkusa eat Kirkusa.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the end, Nassin will realize her mother was acting from love, and even though Essen turns into a stone eater, Nassin becomes a better person, and Shafa finally gets to have peace, and everything will end okay.
That's what I would like to see. And Essen will be a stone eater, and so she can sort of watch over Nassin, but
Yeah.
Nassin, they don't have to be friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, maybe Nassin dies.
This poor little girl. The other day, I turned to Kevin and I said, I think Nassin doesn't stand a chance. And that was also a reference to when I was a little kid and I met my dad's best friend's mom. Have I told you guys this? I'm sure I have, but I don't know if I've told our listeners. I was like probably 4. And she was like, well, hello, Lori. It's nice to meet you. And do you know what I said?
No.
I said, dead people and sky pie.
Oh.
And she looked at my parents and she said, that child doesn't stand a chance.
How old were you?
I mean, I was probably like 4.
Oh, okay.
But kids can be like very goth when they're little. So it was just my like goth death phase that I had when I was a preschooler. I'm fine now. Apparently, I did stand a chance. So maybe Nassin will be fine too.
Yeah.
That sort of reminds me of when I was about 3, and somebody came up to me and said, I was in my stroller, and this person from church came up to me and said, "Give us a smack," and she was talking about a kiss, and I just hit her right in the face.
I mean,
That's what you should always do to a stranger who asks for a kiss.
But also a smack. I've never heard that referred to as a kiss.
Really?
Never.
Well, like a smack on the lips.
Never.
Oh, okay.
Like a little peck. Yeah, I mean, I know what she means, and I also think that you did the right thing.
I mean, I understand it in context, but I've never, give us a smack. I would probably slap him too now, 37 years old. Amelia Bedelia.
Well, I think we all agree that is the correct way to go.
Oh, Amy, I love that story.
We're all just a little bit Nassin, is what we're saying.
I don't have a personal story about saying goth things, but there's a trend going around TikTok right now where parents are telling the thing that makes you think that your toddler is a psychopath. And this woman was telling the story, and she's like, I started to really show my pregnancy, and my 3-year-old was very confused by it at first, and then he, got excited about having a brother. And then one day, the little boy says, basically, he says something like, is he dead? And the mom goes, no, he's not dead. He's going to be born. He's not dead. And then the little boy goes, not yet, which is very creepy.
No.
I mean, he's not wrong. Everything.
Well,
does.
exactly. I mean, he probably wasn't planning on killing him, but like, woo, that's creepy.
Oh, man.
I laughed at that.
I have a long list of things I didn't understand, which you all may be able to help me with.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. Things I don't quite understand. Who stole the moon?
Yeah, where did it go? And how can it come back?
Book 3 is going to tell us that. And
How
I
far
guess
away
the
is it?
general implication is that it was people because Father Earth is so mad at people. But
It was flung away by Orogeny in some way.
okay.
Is what
As a sub note, let's talk about Father Earth.
But what's her story?
I know. I don't like the idea of it's
She's
Mother
mad.
Earth.
She's
It's
mad.
Mother Earth. I also picture like a weird Nomi looking man. I don't like him.
I mean, I guess I picture Father Earth like as if the whole Earth was a person with no face.
Oh no,
yeah,
mine,
I don't have a guy.
Mine is like a man from one of those stop motion Christmas movies. Maybe I'm thinking of Father Time. I don't know. I don't like it though.
It's like angry Yukon Cornelius.
Yes, 100%. That is Father Earth, and I don't like him.
Well, he's hurt people who hurts people, right?
That's true.
Yeah, he's hurt. Now he wants to hurt others.
Somebody stole his baby. He's a grieving father, which honestly I prefer that to a grieving mother trope. So I'm here for Father Earth.
Okay.
So the 3 sides are Father Earth, Stone Eaters who want peace and prosperity, and Stone Eaters who want modern humans to go away and it just be Stone Eaters. Is that right?
I think that sounds right.
But it's funny how the Father Earth aspect doesn't come in until like the middle of the book, and I'm not quite sure if Father Earth's motives, if he's cognizant.
Yeah, we don't really learn. Well, Father Earth is referred to quite a bit in the first book, but I took it to be more like a religious thing than like
Yeah,
a literal
same.
thing.
Yeah, me too.
And
But
then
now-
you learn at some point that it's literal.
Yeah, which I don't like. I think that's confusing.
Which I guess, okay, so if Stone Eaters are sentient stone, and there's magic running through everything, right? Then really Father Earth is probably just like a concentration of that magic, right? Like
Who's to
he's
say? I mean,
I don't
I'm
know.
still not sure that Stone Eaters are even actually stone. Maybe they just eat it.
They just have the appearance of it.
Yeah, I mean, it says humanoid, which just means shape, but jury's still out on Stone Eaters.
Father Earth, I mean, I think you can have identity and personality divorced from a body, right? So I just imagine he's like a sentient force. But he has language because he takes over the minds of, they call it contaminated guardians, which is what happens to Shafa at the beginning of the book.
So so the impression there is that some guardians are not controlled by Father Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that the contamination is when Father Earth gets in there
Okay.
and starts running the show.
Got it. Okay.
And that happened to Shafa when he was dying.
Ah, okay.
And that was what saved his life. So he was trying to consciously fight it, but his body was like, no, bodies want to live, which is just true. So his body accepted the contamination of Father Earth in order to live. But I read in like a summary somewhere that Shafa probably suffered some sort of like actual brain damage as we would understand it.
Yeah.
And that's why he doesn't remember so much of his life as Shafa.
Yeah.
So
that
he's
makes
got
sense. That makes sense.
his microchip, which he got from his stillness COVID-19 vaccine, has malfunctioned. So he doesn't have all of the strictures that he would have as a guardian. But he's also got Father Earth in there saying, kill every origin.
Yeah. Right as he was drowning and then did that thing that saved his life, it made him damaged. I pictured him getting out, because he goes and then he kills that family or whatever. I picture him with red eyes and greasy hair, and he's like Franken-Shafa. Like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I imagine he looked pretty rough.
Yeah.
Man, he just took out that whole family.
He sure did.
Sure
And
did.
I thought he was just going to go on a killing spree, which he sort of did, but it ended up a lot more moderated than I thought it would.
He seems to get back to normal a little bit. Or at least chills out.
Yeah, I think the thing about Shafa is that he has enough strength of will to most of the time overcome these impulses that the Father Earth contamination are causing. And I think that's the heroic thing about him, because he's constantly wrestling with the force of the entire Earth in his head telling him to do things that he knows are wrong. And that's why he's hurting all the time. And it's really sad, but he's also a bad guy.
What I really like about science fiction, and I think this was a good example of it, the phrase you said a couple minutes ago, I keep thinking about it, bodies want to live. That's just a fact, There's a biological imperative to keep breathing, to, fight against death when you're dying. But science fiction that talks about things that are different from that, or even just mentioning it explicitly, something that we don't do every day, makes you appreciate how weird and crazy our existence is. Kind of like what we were saying earlier about we're not from here. It's like we live with these bodies that want to live every day, but then how come I have to take a pill every day because grass makes my head explode? Like allergies exist. It's crazy.
Oh, why can't I digest food? Why do I have to take an eeting pill every day?
Yeah,
Why
like
does my body
I
stop
think
saying
about
want me
that
to
all
be
the
depressed?
time. I can't eat without a pill. I
It's
would
so
have
funny.
died in the forest a long time ago.
I know, but like if you cut me, the sit whenever I get a wound, I love the healing process. Like my body is healing itself, which is like something from a video game.
That's so gross. I don't. Ew.
It's fascinating. It heals itself.
It is.
What's a scar? It's like that silver that Nassim plays with. I love it.
The scar is interesting. It's like an injury was like, I was here. Like it carved it into a disc.
Yeah, and it's like a weird type of skin that doesn't grow hair, and it's real pink. It's amazing.
Ew.
Yep.
Okay. So next question. Why does doing mega orogeny turn humans into stone eaters? And semicolon, are all stone eaters formerly human origins?
Okay. The second part of that is going to be explained in the third book.
Cool.
Okay.
The first part of that, I think what is happening is it's not the orogeny, it's the magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So magic is like, I think they're just sort of becoming a little, like they're gathering all this magic in themselves and doing a thing, right? So it just sort of concentrates in them and then turns a part of them to stone. That's what
And
I think is happening.
Here's what I wonder, because Nassan is using magic left and right and not turning into stone. So I wonder if, because of their, okay, I'm going to make another prediction that is in the form of a question. This is now Jeopardy. I wonder if the fulcrum training that Alabaster and Essen had has left them unable to work magic in any way other than with their orogenic skills, and doing that is what's causing them to turn to stone because they only know one way to do it. Whereas like Nassan sort of found this naturally, and just since nobody was in charge of her, she just starts playing with it and has a more natural grasp of it. And I think Nassan also very clearly sees magic as something distinct from harnessing geothermal energy and using orogeny that way.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that she's safer because she doesn't have any stone limbs.
Yeah,
You're not
no, I think
necessarily safer if you wake her up.
Because, okay, so Nassan also tapped into an obelisk. But, okay, so nothing happened to Alabaster and Essen when they just tapped into an obelisk. It was when they did something with the gate. So, like, Alabaster created an obelisk gate to do the rifting. Or no, he just networked to do the rifting.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a character actually harness the whole gate. I think Essen, that's confusing. Okay, these names are too similar.
Why are they so
Yeah, I think about that a
similar?
lot. It's like
Why are they so similar?
I mean, I guess reading it is fine. I guess the book wasn't made to be podcasted about because I didn't have a problem when I was reading it, but talking about it,
yeah.
I get very confused. But Essen, I think, identifies and then understands how to access the whole gate, but I don't think she does access the whole gate. And I
Right.
don't think that Alabaster has either.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right, because when Essen tried to do it, Nassan held back that one of them,
The
Sapphire, maybe?
Sapphire. She had the Sapphire.
And then Alabaster definitely networked with the nodes to do the rifting, but it doesn't actually say he did anything with the obelisk gate. And then Nassan hasn't done gates yet. She's only accessed the thingies. So it's not the gate.
I don't think
that's turning
anybody's
them to
grabbed the whole
stone.
gate.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know the answer to any of those two questions, but if I was in college, I would write a paper on how the fulcrum is like Western, very didactic, stringent pedagogy, and then the other version is like Montessori school, or just like a very natural
Unschooling. That's the thing I
Yeah.
keep seeing on internet lately.
It's like a
Unschooling.
collaborative approach. Like if you want to go play with your feet for an hour, do it.
Or
instead of,
as Moby Dick insists, there's more to learning than just going to school. Like you have to
Amen.
go live and learn things on your own.
True.
And see things in nature.
Yeah.
School of life, school of hard knocks.
Right. That's right. That's
School
right.
of hard rocks. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one more thing, which I think I figured out, but I still think it was confusing. So, when Alabaster destroyed the world, the question that I had was it in order to remake it into a more just society? Because at the time, it seemed like he was trying to burn it all down for the sole purpose of just burning it all down, like Nassan style. But after reading this book, it seems more like his goal was to burn it down in order to allow it to be remade in such a way that people can live equitably and there won't be seasons and that everything will be better for everybody, which doesn't strike me as super Alabaster-ish.
I think it changed. So when he first did the rifting, he had not yet gone to that place that has the or had he? Had he gone to the place, the little ocean world,
We
before
don't
he did
spend
the rifting?
nearly enough time. I completely missed that there was an ocean vacation trip until I read the summary.
So I think that's where he goes when Antimony takes him from Meow. So that's not right. Okay, I'm working through this in real time. Sorry, listeners.
Yeah. No, it's confusing.
Because I also got that impression when he did the rifting. It's because he's like, this system is effed, and we need to completely dismantle it and start again.
Well, I didn't think he wanted to start again. I thought he was just like, burn it all down, everybody die, no more suffering for anybody, which is where Nastin is at now.
Well, but thing is, I bet if he wanted to, he could have like tore the Earth apart, like piece by piece. Like, why just do another season? Like, there's a million seasons. So.
Well, he did though. I mean, he basically cracked the whole continent, and the season would last thousands of years. So,
oh, I know, but like, I meant like tear it like literally into two pieces.
like everybody dies today.
Yeah, like make it like a Death Star explosion.
Years.
Yeah.
So what changed to make him want to suddenly bring the moon back and fix everything?
Or did he change? Was it Plan A all along? Like, but then you didn't need to do the rifting to grab the moon back.
Yeah, he's very coy. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm confused. Maybe it'll all become clear.
Yeah, hopefully.
Anyway, I miss Alabaster though. You know, he pops back up as a Stone Eater, and I'm like halfway through the 3rd book, and I haven't seen him.
Oh, hope he does.
No,
I like him.
I think we need Miss Jemison to come on the show.
Yes. Please.
Oh yeah, she would love that
and explain some things.
She would be like, "You guys are so smart."
I will start Instagram DMing her pictures of Wilma, my orange cat. They can be friends.
There you go.
So that's our
yeah,
end.
We got it in. Hey, our cats know each other.
They do. They totally do. Unrelated. Oh, actually, no. Here's one of my unanswerable questions. So I love the character of Ika. She's like the wild and carefree, not carefree, but she's like the uneducated origin that runs Kastrima.
Self-educated.
Self-educated, yeah. How does she have so many divans? I swear, like, I underlined every time she was on a divan.
She's always reclining.
She's always like on a divan.
She's tired. She's either working hard or she's catching a cat nap on one of her floor pillows.
They even tote those things down to the little vote session that they're having.
That's so funny. I totally overlooked that.
And then I was like, maybe they don't, because I was just picturing her like big, like the sofa cushions. But then I Googled what a divan actually is, and I was like, no, that's like a fainting couch. I don't know. So.
Well, I mean, I guess she's the head woman, so she gets to have divans.
Yeah. I thought she was really cool. I like to picture her.
I like her a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I think she's basically my feminist favorite.
Oh, feminist favorite. My feminist favorite is, so I really don't like Jija, and I want him to get what's coming to him for what's it called when you kill your child?
Filicide.
Filicide. And so at one point, it's towards the end of the book actually, I think, when Nastin just has enough of his shit and she ices the room. She doesn't kill him or hurt him, but she's like, stop. And I thought it was a really powerful scene.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he really needs to calm the fuck down.
Well,
why do you think he killed his son and not his daughter?
I think
he loved her more. She was his favorite, I think.
I know, but like,
I think he spent some of his anger after he was done, and so by the time she showed up, he was a little bit calmer.
Yeah. I think that, and also like he might have a tiny amount of realized what he just did, that he just beat a child to death.
Yeah.
So he had spent some of that energy and was a little bit like, oh, but then also I think they did say like she was kind of his particular favorite.
Yeah. Oof. That sucks.
Oh, it's so awful. Every time they go back to that, I'm just like I'm so upset about it.
Yeah, it was funny. As I started the book, you know, you spend all of book 1 knowing what Jija did and the daughter's out there, and like it was fascinating to be like all of a sudden in her brain and being like, oh yeah, so she's got to spend time with this horrible man that killed her brother and she knows about it. Ugh.
And try not to get killed herself. Like, no wonder she becomes who she becomes.
And also love him.
Yeah, because it's her dad and he's taking care of her.
Yeah. And he loves her. He's just really, really fucked up. But I wouldn't say that he doesn't love her.
Oh, I agree. I think he loves her. It's just it's just fucked. He's got a lot of prejudice. You know?
I didn't write down the exact line, but there's a line early in the book where it's sort of rehashing what's happened. And it says something like, it is not hard to beat a 3-year-old to death.
Yeah.
That's just it's so awful.
Oof.
Okay. Misogynist moment? I have none.
Yeah,
there aren't any.
We get it.
Yeah, the misogynist moment was some of the 1-star reviews on Goodreads. But yeah, this book, I like how in this book everyone just exists. So obviously origins are struggling. That's what the book's about. But like there are polyamorous families and there are same-sex couples and Tonki is we would look at Tonki as a trans lady. And it's just like people just exist in the world and
Well,
that's just fine.
and I
Too many
think
issues. Too
I
many issues.
I feel like too, because of the way they have use casts, that maybe things aren't as closely divided along, I guess, what we'd consider gender lines today. Like, it's not just always the women staying at home. Like people have entire casts of responsibility. So
Yeah, people have found other ways to divide themselves.
Yeah, because it seems like the strong
Seems more
backs are
equitable.
a little bit not marginalized, but they're looked down upon a little bit. Like they're just
Oh, for
strong
sure.
backs.
And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I hate that. I feel like they're like cannon fodder when
Yeah.
when Castrima Under gets attacked and it's like, well, you guys get to be up at the front. That's your job. Oh no. Whew.
Yep.
But I guess they literally don't provide any other service. So they're taken care of unless there is a threat. In which case that's their big moment.
No, I mean they don't take it. Wait, but don't they like do manual
They might
labor and
haul things
stuff?
around and stuff, yeah.
That's
what I
would think. I mean,
build stuff?
yeah, because there's innovators, there's resistance. I'm not sure what resistance do. Maybe they're the fighters.
No, they are disease resistant.
Oh, so that's a weird use cast. Because like, what do
Yeah,
they do?
it is. So there's one character who shed a little light on that, little like a minor character that they mention, and I think it's like the person who serves the emperor. Remember how there was like an emperor early on, and that's just gone.
Yeah.
So they have their servants. Their servant is a resistant because that way you can be pretty sure that they're not going to carry disease to the royalty.
And also the
yeah.
resistance are the doctors and stuff because they're not going to be the ones that succumb.
Oh, that makes sense. They would be doctors too.
Oh, so
I didn't think about that.
born as a resistant.
They got all their COVID-19 vaccines. Yep.
Right.
Well, Essen is also a resistant. She works as a teacher, but I guess I probably wouldn't understand how that made sense if not for where we're at right now.
Well, didn't she just invent her own cast? Because
Yeah, for sure she did. But like why would teacher be a suitable job? Well, we see now why that would be a suitable job for a person who's resistant. And she may have. Do we know what her use cast was before she was taken to the fulcrum?
I don't know.
I think she does tell Shafa. She does tell Shafa what her name is because there's a whole moment where she wants to know his name and he tells her he's from Warrant and
Yeah,
she
I
tells
can't
her
remember.
But she was too young to really. So like, there's a point in your life where you get your full comm name.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're a kid, you don't have one really. It seems like, and then you get accepted, quote unquote, into the comm, and then you get a full comm name. So my impression was she told him her full comm name, but really she didn't have one yet.
But some people do though. Some of them are inherited, like leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if they would be able to say I am blah blah leadership blah blah until later. Like they're all inherited, aren't they?
It's 3 names, right? It's like your first name, your
use cast and your city.
So I'm Haley Ryder, Atlanta. I like that.
They're all inherited though. Like it's all through families.
Yeah, but you can change. Like Tonki wanted to be an innovator, and she was gonna do that. And then like Nassen's dream was to be a lorist.
To change, do you have to go to a different comm?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Well, and lorist just seems more like a profession, but like strongback seems like I'm literally like a more burly person that can fight or is stronger.
Yeah, some of them definitely seem tied to more inherent traits than others.
It's not unlike, like in Brave New World, you have like the alphas, which are like the super smart people, and then you've got like the deltas that are like less intelligent, and they are the ones that do manual labor. So like, I wonder if it's like along a continuum like that or not, or maybe hopefully it's more equitable. Like,
I thought it was interesting that they were ashamed of Tonki when she wanted to be an innovator, and they were like, "Ugh, you're dead to us if you want to be an innovator." And I was like, "Well, that seems like the best thing to be."
Yeah, like
Please do that.
To me, strongback seems like they'd be like the deltas from Brave New World, but maybe they're strongbacks that are brilliant. They just happen to be physically strong. I don't know.
Oh, you guys, a person inherits the use name of their same-sex parent on the theory that useful traits are more readily passed this way.
Interesting.
Oh, so it goes by. Okay, so interesting. So 2 people married may not have the same caste, but then if they have a son, the father's caste will be okay. Interesting.
Fascinating.
Apparently, there are 20 recognized use castes, only 7 in common use.
Rattle some off.
I don't know them.
Oh, I thought you were looking at a list or like a
I
description.
was just looking at the use cast definition in the little glossary.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you were on a page.
Strongbacks are individuals selected for their physical prowess, responsible for heavy labor and security in the event of a season.
Checks out.
That's an awful job.
Yeah. Yeah. No thanks. That's just like saying they're peasants, basically. Ugh.
Yeah, you do the hardest work and then die first in the season.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Any food?
I don't remember any food except for like the constant mentions and threats of cannibalism. That's no
Well,
fun.
there's all that stone eating.
Eating the stone, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a boob talk. Essen notes that Antimony has no breasts, which makes her a more comfortable chair for Alabaster.
Oh yeah, I remember that. But
Well, there's
also,
a
but even if she had breasts, they'd be stone, right?
Well, yeah, they'd be really uncomfortable. She's more comfortable because she's flat.
I'm giving y'all a tantalizing look into the third book, guys. There's a really, really, really good boob talk.
Oh yeah, I'm there.
Future
Okay.
boob talk.
I'm there. Oof. Oof.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
It will actually combine two categories that I won't reveal.
Oh, yay!
Awesome.
All right. Did we like the book? I did.
I do.
I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it. I guess.
I have a hard time divorcing whether you like a book. So like you could say that like, do you just like the story? Do you just like the prose? Like I like all of it. I'm a little bit confused by much of it, but I like the world that I like the time that I spend with it. So I consider that like a positive. So
I think
Me
I
too.
don't love a lot of the way she writes, unfortunately. Like I don't like the way she just like she'll gloss over things that we really need to know, and then she'll spend a couple pages describing some moment that's happening inside someone's erogenous head, but she doesn't really describe it in a way you can really picture it. So like some of her writing kind of gets to me, I think, sometimes, but I love the world and I love the story for the most part. And
that's true.
I really like her writing. I find it very readable. Like the tone is very casual. So I find it very easy to read. It's not like I don't like when we read Le Guin and I read a sentence and I'm like, what now? And I gotta read it again. And it's not because I like didn't get I was like, oh, what kind of spaceship? It was more like, how do those English words form a thought? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. I definitely
this
agree
book
with
I
that.
find very readable.
Yeah, agreed.
True. Yeah. I dig it.
I mean, it's definitely page turn the whole way through. I mean, it's not like I'm putting it down in frustration or anything. I think just some things when I'm done with it, and I think this is why we have so many questions, because like some things she just doesn't quite explain clearly, and it's like, and I think it's kind of integral stuff a lot of the time.
Well, and
So-
what sucks for that, if you're frustrated, is that she could just say, "Well, I'm doing it on purpose." So, but
Yeah,
it's just a
I
narrative style. Again, like I was texting y'all earlier, like I like a very straightforward. I want every detail and every. I don't ever want to be confused when I read a book because I get confused easily in books. So, and this one I wasn't necessarily confused about plot. It was just like the world has so many questions, and I'm living in this world, and I like hanging out there. I just need to know, like, I need more street signs and like Wikipedia entries, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would like if there were some expanded, like I was saying the other day to Kevin, I think that I would like a medical appendix that sort of explains the turning of person into stone and why exactly that's happening. And I think if this series had little expanded universe books, like along the lines of how Harry Potter has like books that explain what all these creatures are and that kind of thing, I would definitely be into that.
A Stone Eater's Compendium. Oh, I'd read the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would. I definitely wouldn't say I didn't like the book. I think there's just some things maybe I would prefer happened in it, but it's not a big indictment of the book for me.
Don't you indict this book.
I'm sorry, no indictment. No indictments being handed down on this book.
Okay, is it? Lori, keep going.
Oh, I was just going to say Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, so I think that's where you're headed.
Yeah. Okay, let's all turn our pages to 240.
Oh, I don't think my pages are quite the same as yours because the last one that you read, it was close, but not quite. Let's see.
Well, okay,
240. Let me get to my 240.
This is
What's
like
the sentence at the top of your 240?
it's chapter 14. You're invited, and then the Alabaster suffers another bad infection. There's one
Oh,
paragraph.
got it. Okay, I'm with you.
Let us read from
Turn in your hymnals.
From it's the parenthetical at the end of that paragraph. The obelisks are conduits. You flow through them, flow with them as the magic flows. Resist and die, but resonate finely enough, and many things become possible. That's just the force. The force
Good point.
flows through you. So I think it's Star Wars.
That's true, but they are also in a bunker much like Helm's Deep.
I don't even know what that means.
So that's Lord of the Rings.
Where's Helm's Deep?
That's in Middle Earth.
Do y'all know what I just? This is rated R. Helm's Deep. I just think of balls deep. I don't like it.
I hate that phrase. So
Oh no, it's disgusting.
Helm's Deep is a place where they go because there's gonna be a fight with some orcs, and so they go to Helm's Deep to like bunker down and prepare for the fight, and a bunch of exposition happens, and then
Is there a montage?
yes,
Ooh. But also, when they go to Antarctica and there's the cold fulcrum, there's a lot of younglings that they're training.
that's true. That's true.
So, I don't know. That's 2 for me.
Okay, well, I said we're getting into moon/space territory. So, as a Christmas gift to Haley, because I wrote these notes before Christmas, I'm going to call it Star Wars.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it.
All right. Coming up next time is the 3rd book in this trilogy, the 3rd and final book, The Stone Sky, unless we decide to read something silly in between now and then, which we might do because it's our podcast and we can.
Yeah, I was thinking today we should start looking ahead to what else I think we should read another old one because it's more fun sometimes to riff on a bad book written by a man in the 60s, but
Oh, yeah.
But I also like reading really good science fiction by a woman in the 2000 teens. So
Yeah, I just haven't had any misogynist moments in so long.
I know.
I think we had some good ones with Conjure Wife.
Ah, true.
Don't sleep on
So
Conjure Wife.
many.
Yeah, that
I
would
tell you guys, I read one of his other books and it was just outrageous. I can't remember if I've talked about it on the podcast or not. I read Our Lady of Darkness and I couldn't believe that book. And he wrote that book in like the 70s. So it was many decades after Conjure Wife. And I was like, let's see where Fritz ended up. And it's not even so much misogynist moments, although there are some. Like he has a stack of books. The main character has a stack of books in his bed and he like refers to it as like it's his wife, like it's a woman.
Oh God.
This pile of books on the side of the bed. I mean, it's just it isn't a good book, everybody.
Some minor good news for everybody. All 3 of us, your podcasting ladies, are now official members of the Discon Worldcon. I don't know how to phrase that. We're members
of
of
2021 Discon memberships.
We have 2021 Discon memberships, and we will be voting for the Hugo Awards this year, which is awesome.
All right. Anything else?
Say too.
I like you guys. I hope 2020 is wonderful for you both and all of our listeners.
Yep.
Do you mean 2021?
That's what I meant.
Oh no, it's the 13th month. It's like January 1st, 2020.
I kept seeing all these tweets about you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be December 32nd, 2020.
No. Oh, that'd be horrible.
All right.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.
Your mama's so old, she farts dust.